Ayres sensory integration. Jean Ayres was an occupational therapist and educational psychologist who was credited with developing this theory. She attempted to explain the underlying cause of pediatric learning disabilities and behavioral motor difficulties. There's two different approaches to the SI theory: neuroplasticity and hierarchical view of the central nervous system. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to adapt to change inflicted upon it, whether that's biological or environmental factors. Hierarchical view of the central nervous system is specialized intervention techniques related to the occupation of play. This focuses on remediation of brainstem functions to improve function as related to prey. There's four different levels of sensory integration process. The primary level, this is where the sensory integration system is separated into vestibular, proprioceptive, and tactile. Tactile refers to infants' first emotional bond with their mother and is responsible for providing a sense of security for the infant. Tactile is also responsible for sucking and eating reflexes. Proprioceptive and vestibular provide gravitational security to the infant and will help the child with standing and walking balance in the future. This includes eye movements, posture, balance, muscle tone, and gravitational security. The second level of the sensory integration system is further integrated into body percept, bilateral coordination, motor planning, attention span, activity level, and emotional stability. Body percept is a map of the body that is stored in the brain. Vestibular, proprioceptive, and tactile information are used to form percept information about the right and left sides of the body. The precepts have right and left discrimination of the body and allow them to plan their movements. Sensory integration organization. If pace of activity is too high or too low, this is known as hyper or hypoactivity. This will result in poor sensory integration at the secondary level. The third level of sensory integration is speech and language, eye-hand coordination, visual perception, and purposeful activity. Language, to start with, begins with the child exploring and navigating their environment through touch, moving, and lifting. This is when the child uses tactile and visual sensations to be able to distinguish objects from one another. Hand-eye coordination relates to the visual system. The child needs to use depth perception to determine where an object is in space. The last level, the fourth level, is the ability to organize and concentrate self-esteem, control and confidence, academic learning ability, capacity for abstract thought and reasoning, development of dominance, and hemispheric specialization. These levels are further categorized from a proximal to distal stability of movement. It starts with control of neck and eye movements, then leads to trunk stability and balance, scapular and shoulder stability and movement, elbow motion, gross grasp, wrist positioning and movement, release of grasp, forearm supination and pronation, and lastly, individual finger manipulation. This makes movement start as a spinal reflex, then move to gross, and eventually fine motor dexterity. This provides the best opportunity for the behavioral goal to progress from involuntary to voluntary. To cater to child interests, playful interventions should be administered to engage the child's inner drive. OT therefore enhances neuronal growth and development. This contributes to independence in activities of daily living, increases skill, and self-confidence.